Are you worried about paying your bills and needing a little adventure in your life? My name is Danny Crisp, and I've helped nearly 450 people get their Class A CDL, many of whom are making six-figure incomes and having a blast. Remember, when applying to Prime, if you found these videos helpful, please make certain to use my name and code as your driver referral in the application box. Let's do this together. So stay tuned for the biggest secret career that everyone is getting into. Welcome to Trucking 101. Now, I have been an instructor for a very long time, going on 15 years and 15 different subjects. And one of the things that I have learned in all of these years and all these different subjects is a lot of learning something is vocabulary, learning the terms that are used in that particular field. So I wanted to put a video out for a long time that helps people who are just getting into this field, namely in the job of truck driver, have a better understanding of what the terms actually are. So we're going to break down in this video 3 distinct headings. First, we're going to talk about the vehicle, then we're going to talk about the road, and then we're going to talk about the client. And all of this is to try and give you, someone who's just starting out in this industry, a leg up when you hear people talking about these different terms, so you're a little more prepared getting into this business. Now, obviously, there are a lot of words that we could pick. These are 20 of the top words as far as I have seen it, but there are definitely others we could choose from. So if you as an operator have some ideas about what to add, please reach out on the community page or in the comments section below. We're all in this together. So without further ado, let's get into the vehicle. Now, there's a lot of different terms that we can use talking about the vehicle that'll probably be sounding a little strange the first time you hear it. And a good example of that is bobtail, right? You hear the word bobtail and it's very confusing. What could you possibly mean by this? There's no real term of reference. Bobtail simply means that you have a truck without a trailer attached. So if you hear them say the truck is bobtail, it just simply means there's no trailer. Next is going to be kind of a big one. There's a lot of different truck types out there. You're going to hear the phrase day cab. This is a truck that does not have a sleeper in it and is designed to run freight from point A to point B and be out only for the day. Like it sounds like it's a day cab. Sleeper is another one that has to do with there being a bunk in the back where a single person or a team can sleep for continuous runs long distances. This is the kind of standard truck that you see out there is going to be one of these sleeper berths. So it's that longer truck. The condo or the full size, this simply means that the truck is as tall as it can possibly be, that 13.6 standard. This gives more room, especially if it's a team, for 2 people to live in that space. And a midroof is what you typically see on a tanker or a hopper, which we'll talk a little bit later on trailer type. But these are going to be shorter and they're going to be a little easier to get around places that might have a clearance problem, right? You want to be able to have a truck that's low enough to get under certain clearances, and these midroofs are going to be able to do that. They're typically 12.6 or less than that. So a midroof is a good option a lot of times for flatbedders because the freight is a little bit shorter and it can help with aerodynamics or, again, clearing certain heights. Next is going to be your blind side and your sight side. Now, this is kind of intuitive, but it can be a little confusing at first. Blind side simply means the passenger side of the vehicle, the right side of the vehicle. This is a side where you're not going to be able to see as well, especially when you're parking at truck stops. The sight side, pretty obvious. That's going to be your left side. That's going to be the side that you can immediately see. And the side that you're going to be watching when you park at truck stops, you're going to be watching your sight side, your driver's side, to get your trailer into that spot at night. Trailer types, there's a lot of different types of trailer a truck can be attached to. Some of the ones you'll see most commonly is going to be a reefer unit. That's that large refrigerated box. If they do not have a reefer attached to them, a refrigerated unit attached, then they are what's called dry box. A flatbed trailer, that's the one that I'm personally privy to. This is going to be that long flat that's going to typically be hauling construction material, I-beams, lumber, things like this, also known as a skateboard. Hopper is another type of trailer that you're going to see out there a lot. This typically is going to be hauling grains or other farm equipment. Tanker, very familiar with what that looks like, oftentimes hauling hazardous material, flammable material, or even just edible or non-edible materials as well in that tank. Another concept that's going to be brand new when you're starting out is coupling, or to couple or uncouple. This simply means when the truck and the trailer connect to each other, they need to couple or uncouple. So anytime you attach to a truck or trailer, you're going to back the truck into the trailer, and then you're going to have the safety latch lock into place, at which point you'll need to hook up your air lines, both emergency and service, and your electrical line. Now, once that's done, or even before that, you can wind that landing gear all the way up into its fully raised position. So on the coupling equipment, we're going to have our safety latch, our electric lines, our air lines, and our landing gear. Axles is another key term for us that's going to be a little new. There's different types of axles. The one that you're going to hear a lot is something called a tandem axle, and that is when the two axles are together and they slide as one unit. When they slide as one unit, they can have 34,000 pounds on them. When those axles are separate, then they can have 20,000 per axle. And that's something that you're going to need to know a little bit more about, making sure that you're meeting your weight requirements when you're hauling freight. So the tandem is when they're together. The spread axle is when they are apart. And then there's also something called a lift axle, which is where one of the axles sits up and doesn't sit down until it has over 20,000 pounds of freight on the deck, because that is the point at which we need that second axle to meet our weight requirements. So we have the tandem axle, the spread axle, and the lift axle. Now, two of the most prominent fields are going to be the flatbed and the reefer. So I want to talk a little bit about the gear that's going to be used for those different types of trailers. Flatbed, you're going to have what's called a headache rack. This is the box that you keep all of your supplies in to secure your freight. It's going to have chains in it. It's going to have binders in it. It's going to have ratchets in it. It's going to have straps in it. These are the things that we need to secure the freight to the deck. So those are some of the flatbed equipment that you're going to hear a lot about. Reefer gear, you're going to hear something called a chute. This is something that helps circulate the cold air through the entire trailer so that the freight stays at a specific temperature. It's very important that these different pieces of freight are transported at specific temperatures to make sure that they stay fresh for the receivers. For trailer, you're going to have that reefer unit. That is the actual refrigerated unit that is designed to keep the temperature. It runs on diesel and needs to be refueled the same way that the truck needs to be refueled. So that refrigerated unit is going to be on that reefer trailer. Now, lastly on the reefer unit is going to be something called a load lock. Now, this is designed to sit inside the trailer to keep the trailer's product from moving around inside the trailer, and it stretches across the width of it and locks into place to keep any moving or shifting for that product through transportation. So those load locks you're going to see a lot of, and that is a new term for reefer operators. So that covers most of the vehicle stuff. Obviously, there's some other stuff as well that you're going to see as a first-time operator, but this is a good place to start. So why don't we talk a little bit about the road?
Want to get my CDL prep packet to help you build your confidence and ace your pre-trip driving test and backing? Well, grab it today on my website, cdlyeah.com, for only $5. And if you want my packet for free, if you're interested in driving for Prime, apply today and list my name as your driver referral. Shoot me an email to let me know you applied to Prime, and I'll send you the CDL prep packet for free. And as always, on the driver application tab on Prime Mobile, select Nikki Yost in the drop-down. She is my dedicated recruiter and a real all-star. And of course, where it asks who was the Prime driver who referred you, jot down DANNYCRISP to let them know I sent you. Now, back to the vocab for the road section.
All right, so there's a few different things we're going to see over the road. Whenever you are running a trailer that doesn't have any product on it, you are what's called empty, or sometimes referred to as M, actual T. When we message dispatch, we oftentimes are trying to shorthand as much as possible so we can get moving. So this is one of the ways we say that we are empty, is that we are MT. Off-tracking is something that is very important to have a good understanding of at the very beginning of driving, and that simply means that the trailer is taking a shortcut to get to where the steering tires are, right? When you're in a combination vehicle, your trailer is going to off-track. It's going to take an inside lane to what your truck does. So you always need to be staying wide in order to manage your off-track. So off-tracking is a very important thing to understand. And if you have more questions about this, definitely reach out or research it a little bit more, because that's the number one priority, is keeping your trailer out of trouble. Now, a jug handle or a button hook, this is one of the ways that we do stay wide or manage our off track. And that simply means we go to a wider position before we make our turn in order to pull our trailer into that wider position. Jug handle is the wider swooping angle before we cut back in. Button hook is another way to say the same thing, as we get ourselves out to a wider position before cutting in order to manage that off track. Deadhead is another term that's going to be typically brand new, and it doesn't mean that you're a big fan of the Grateful Dead in this context. It means that you are running empty miles that you are more than likely not getting paid for to get to the next shipper to get product to take. So deadhead means that we are running without anything on the trailer, typically unpaid miles. Macros, this is something that is going to be very important and covers a wide range of different topics. When we send macros, this is where we interact with our dispatcher, our road assist. It is a group of standard messages, departures, arrivals, fuel requests, where we are communicating with the people that we work with in order to get messages conveyed quickly and efficiently. So those are our macros. A washout is something that reefer operators, tanker operators, these are going to be places where those individuals go to make sure that their trailers are cleaned out and ready for the next product that they're going to need to see. Oftentimes, certain product might have some sort of remnants in that trailer, and so we would want to make sure and clean it out so it's ready to go for the next product. And finally, on the road, we're going to talk about this idea called a mega. Now, a mega is one of these large truck stops. Mega can also refer to different types of freight providers, carriers. So when we're talking about truck stops, a mega is going to be a TA, a Pilot, a Loves, a Petro, truck stops that we see all over the country. These are great places to stop, and they often offer points for individuals who use them a lot. These rewards programs make showers cheaper or free, give you bonuses for when you fuel, so later you can get stuff for free. And they're oftentimes very well lit, very safe, very secure if you're worried about your product. So these are great places to stop. These truck stops are referred to as megas. When we talk about mega in terms of carriers, what we're talking about is these larger scale trucking companies like Prime, like Swift, like CR England, these kind of large carriers. These are going to be some of the ones that you see on the road, and they all have different reputations for certain standards. So these mega carriers, you're going to hear their names quite a bit, and so when we hear the word mega, we could be referring to carrier or, like I said, a truck stop. So those are some of the things you're going to hear over the road that might feel a little new. Let's talk a little bit more about when we visit the client. What are the new words we're going to see there? Now, the last header that I wanted to talk about is the client. We're going to be seeing shippers and receivers quite a bit, and there's going to be some new phrases or terms. Now, that first one's going to be drop and hook. This is where we're going to go to a shipper with an empty trailer, drop it, and then hook up to a loaded trailer. This often is going to be with dedicated freight lanes where you're going back to the same shipper, delivering, coming back empty, and then picking up from that same location and then running again. Although it doesn't have to be, it can be at a yard or a different distribution center. But drop and hook simply means that you are dropping one empty trailer and hooking up to a loaded trailer and then hitting the road. It's a very efficient way to do things, so a lot of guys really like drop and hook freight. Another type of freight is going to be that preloaded. That simply means that before you arrived, the trailer had been loaded and is desired, certainly because it helps us be more efficient with our clocks. If we can arrive and drop an empty and have a preloaded trailer, it helps us to secure it and hit the road a little bit faster. And then obviously live loaded means that when you are at the shipper, they are putting the product into or onto the trailer as you are there being loaded live. So those are some different types of freight. Now, when we talk about load types, this can be the conversation that you're having with your dispatcher. You are either dispatched on a particular load or you are pre-planned on a load. And pre-planned simply means that you have a load planned on you before you end up getting empty. So pre-planned or dispatched are the different types of loads that you're going to hear referred to. Locations, this is a new one. This is fun. Obviously, you're going to have your shipper. You're going to have your receiver. Now, we speak about them in terms of numbers oftentimes, and 01 is your first shipper. And sometimes you can have a second shipper where you pick up product at 2 different locations. That would be an O1 and then an O2, and that will continue with shippers and receivers. If you have multiple receivers, that could be your O2, your O3. Your final receiver is going to be your 90. So when you think about these stops that you're going to make, your first origin of the product is going to be your O1, and your final stop is going to be your 90, and you might have an O2, an O3, an O4 along the way to hit these multi-stops. Next is going to be our calls. Whenever you arrive at a shipper or a receiver, you're going to need to send in an arrival call that says this is the point in time that I arrived at the shipper or receiver, and a departure. This is good for cataloging how long we've been in a place, especially if we've been there for a very long time, and we might need to request detention pay. So this helps us create a timeline of when we got to a place and when we left that place, so that way we can have a good idea of where we've been and how long we have been there. And finally, we have our PPE. This is that personal protective equipment. This is going to be things like a hard hat, gloves, ear protection, eye protection, long sleeves, steel-toed shoes, things like this. It's important that at certain shippers and receivers that we have this equipment on, because there might be hazards that we need to navigate. So PPE is going to be required at a lot of these locations. And a final one is something called a lumper. And a lumper is the individual that is responsible for offloading product at a receiver. So sometimes we have to wait for a lumper to remove that product. This is typically something that reefer drivers have to deal with. And so something to keep in mind is your lumper at your receiver. So there we have it, guys. We have our 3 different subheadings and multiple new vocab words. Obviously, I'm going to have left some things out, so if you have any ideas that you want to include, please do so in the comments there. Remember, this is a community where we're all kind of learning together, so I welcome all of your ideas. As always, guys, drive safe, drive smart. Until next time.
I didn't know you were going. All right, we good?
But if you are as now, obviously, there are a lot. I'm smiling too much. I got this. Here we go. We're good. Just keep rolling. Those load locks. Now, these are... I got it. I'm going to try that again.
Stop this?
No, you're good. We'll keep going.